And that was like, oh, he got a great smile. So a smile goes a long way. But from the height perspective that you alluded to, I like my man to be taller than me. 6 feet is really like perfect. I like to look up to him. I like to respect him. So looking up to him is like great. But yeah, a great smile is. So welcome back to another episode of the Purpose and Powerful podcast. Tonight we're talking about modern day dating. So, for my generation, and I'm sure it's the same for you, Jabril, it's on meeting in person.
Mhm.
Hi, my name is, or maybe someone we know hooked us up,
That's right.
or whatever it may be. That's how I met most of all the people that I've dated. And I know this current modern day age, you can do so many different things from dating apps to online dating to catfishing people and the like. Have you had an experience, Jabril, with any of those outside of just your regular meet and greet?
You talking about just meeting people on a whim?
Yeah, like yeah, meeting people on a whim. Like what's like other than meeting people in person, have you met anybody digitally and dated, or anything like that?
Well, yes, I have. I've met people different ways. I mean, I don't know if you remember, and I can be dating myself. They used to have this system where the women could get on this phone system for free and they could put in a mailbox who they were. It never was their real name. And they would give their voice and they would describe themselves. But you could never see them. You just hear this nice voice. They give you their best voice. And that's how you would reach out to them. And you had to pay per minute and buy all these minutes to talk to someone on the phone. And
Wow.
so you were cool enough if you could really get that person intrigued or engaged, then they went to give you their real number, so then you wouldn't have to pay anymore because the women never had to pay. So I remember I had some high telephone bills back in the day because I was the one paying for that service. So they sell a package and you get it, but it would run out fast because you start using up all those minutes and go away. And I never got to see any of these people. I never got to see any of them. I never met them.
So that was more like the pen pal system.
Well, it's a little bit more of a voice, but it was good. I mean, I enjoyed it. I was at a stage in my life where it's kind of lonely, it's kind of bored, and I think that I did want to be safe. I didn't really want. I thought I wanted to meet someone in person because just out of curiosity, but I could tell that I was real comfortable at late at night about 10:30. I would get on and see if their mailbox was open, and I would push to see if they were available, and then that was it, and it became a routine. But I noticed that that same routine translated into what I would do in the future with new women. I would call people, and I had a pattern of calling them at a certain time. So so I did it, except I didn't have to pay. Except when I don't know if you remember when you had Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and if the person did not have the same carrier, you had to wait to a certain time in the evening, like after 9 or I mean after 10 or 11, or you'd have to pay for those minutes. Do you remember that?
Right. So I've had a cell phone since February 1st, 99. So I've gone through the whole, and the same phone number actually. So I've
Mm,
gone through the whole process of, yeah, minute rates for this time block. That's what you're talking about. To
yes, yes.
um,
The
if
peak
they,
hour.
if it was local versus, out of town or whatever, like long distance. So I mean, even cell phones have come a long way. But for me, I don't think I've seen. I remember as a kid, you know how they have the names in the magazine or whatever like that, like the, kind of like what we're talking about now, like the pen pal thing. People were writing a letter. You could write a letter to someone that you didn't even know. That's where they got the whole mail order bride situation coming from. And then
Mm,
you could also dial in. But I never had experience with that. I mean, I ran up my parents' phone bill by meeting a guy at camp one summer. But other than that, I never did calls to somebody I didn't know. Like I did calls like my female best friend when I was a child or kid in middle school. Like one of her cousins who lived across town. I had never met him in person. I talked to him on the phone, so I felt like I knew him because they were like really close. But other than that, like from adolescence all the way to when I was actually an adult, I didn't have like phone experience with somebody I didn't already have a relationship with in some capacity, or they weren't connected to somebody I already knew.
Hmm. So when you say that you ran your parents' phone bill up, is it because it was long distance
It
or?
was.
Oh,
Summer camp was out of town and he lived out of town as well. So that's where we met. And, that adolescent love, like on the phone, that's all you had, right? To make the difference.
so let me help me with this real quick because I can't remember. The person who would call had to pay the bill, or is it
The person who called had to pay the bill. Same way, cell phone was both ways, whether you received a long distance call or you placed one. No, it's the other way around. You talk long distance, so if you place the call, you are the one responsible for the bill. But cell
no?
phone had a set number of minutes.
Right. So I do remember I would talk to people that were out of town. I mean, you might meet them. I remember a couple of summers, maybe with my cousins, visiting my cousins, and I may meet one of their friends. And then the last day, when it was time to go home, then I got enough guts, and I may ask my cousin, "Can I get her number? Can you help me out?" And I'm shivering and nervous, and she says, "You can have her number," but of course, it's out of town. So
Right.
I mean, I remember she would always make me, and it was fine. I mean, like you said, I was in that little puppy love stage, make the call. So of course my bill was high. And then she
Right.
would talk for a quick minute, and then she would hang up, and I had to call her back. So I mean, it all started. I remember those days too. So and you never really talk to the person again, and they may go off and meet someone else, or was already with somebody. But just doing that summertime on that break when you met him, it was real fun.
Yeah, that was like the
Those were the
best.
days. You
But
remember
then
those days?
we got older, right? So then dating changed. But it's always been better when you know someone and they know someone so they can kind of hook you up and bridge that nervous gap. And so you would always be able to ask, girl, is he fine? What does he look like? Tell me, like, he got good teeth, like, who is his parents, whatever like that.
Good. See, this
So
good.
that made it better.
So when you talk
Not
about
now, but it's crazy now.
I'm gonna pick on you for a quick second. You talk about these this good teeth, and I've heard you say more than that. I've heard you say more about teeth than height of a man, or something. Is it do women really appreciate a man with quote unquote good teeth? I mean, does that mean you have to have all of the teeth, or what do you mean by good teeth? What qualifies a good teeth for bad teeth?
Good teeth. Well, good teeth makes a great smile. So, when you first, like, you have a great smile. So,
I
I
just
remember when I met my dentist, Dr. Elzawar, in 2000, and the first thing he said to me was like, I love your smile. And coming from a dentist, that's like great because you're gonna work on my teeth. And I personally, take pride in going to the dentist and making sure I do those checkups, not having cavities, those types of things, and spend a lot of money to maintain this great smile. So beyond their face, one of the very first things you see about a person is their smile. And when they laugh, people tend to open their mouth really wide. And if they're self conscious about their smile, they always put their hand over their mouth. So and teeth actually will reveal issues like if someone's doing drugs or if
Ooh,
things are, or they're eating, their eating habits are really bad, or I mean, it
right.
shows up in their smile. I mean, there are doctors or dentists that can diagnose diseases based on how your mouth, what's the condition of your mouth.
You're right, because smokers, I notice their fingernails, or some people smoke, their fingernails look a certain way, or they may have darkness inside. And then, of
Right.
course, the teeth will be a little, they're not as white naturally
Right.
as they can be. So you're right. And then some people eyes, like if somebody smokes a lot, their eyes will be red. So,
Right. Indeed. Just those telltale signs. But I like a great smile because then it tells me, that person likes to laugh and all of those things. And, they can make your day with a smile. My ex-husband, I was in Germany when I met him, and he rolled up next to me, and the first thing he did is he smiled at me, and that was like, oh, he got a great smile. So a smile goes a long way. But from the height perspective that you alluded to, I like my man to be taller than me. 6 feet is really like perfect. Even though I'm 5'4", it's like I like to look up to him. I like to respect him. So looking up to him is like great for that. But yeah, a great smile is priceless.
All right, so there you have it, guys, because you're still single in 2024. Great smile, 6 feet at least. That's
Yeah,
on. I guess that's on her list.
that's
But
right.
uh,
So if you don't have all 32, you can have 28. The molars and the wisdoms can come out. So here we go. But those front 28, want to see those front 28. But taking pride in your smile is just a reflection of how you take care of your health. And
true.
everyone can be subconscious about their smile. So if, I think it's Michael Strahan, for years and years and years, he had the gap, but it looked good on him. But now he's got that, worked on in the last 2 years. I think he went
I
ahead
didn't,
and did something different with his teeth.
I didn't notice it. I missed that. I missed that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a trademark thing, and it grew on people, and people really liked that, and it's not there anymore. But, again, the smile, like that's the first impression.
Right.
Like, yes, you can meet. Yeah, I'm sure you have ran into that where you have a great looking woman, and then she smiled, and you're like, oh, it just diminished the power of the beauty just that quickly.
Well, for sure. I mean, in this COVID era, some people have some real pretty eyes, and they have this covering them. When they take the mask off, it's a whole different situation. And think, wow, they're amazing with that mask. So I
But if you think about the Middle Eastern cultures, right, who were, I cannot think of the name, but they would only see the eyes, eyes being the window to the soul.
mhm.
And, eyes themselves are just like you say, oh, you have really pretty eyes. It's such a compliment. But we tend to, in our culture, have brown or black for the most part, and then depending upon your lineage and things like that, you can have, or your like hereditary type traits, you can have different color eyes or whatever. But first you see the eyes and the smile, because people smile with their eyes too, that it makes their eyes light up, right? So it's just those types of things that make it so great. And I think about all of the people that I've dated, they all have a great smile. They really do.
So that's good. It sounds like it's a non-negotiable for you.
Right.
It's
Well,
something that,
I didn't even know it was a non-negotiable, but also too thinking about the eyes, they have different eyes as well.
okay.
My With the lighting, sometimes my ex-husband actually had a black eye and a brown eye at the same time, a
Hmm.
different one. I was like, the light just glinted it, I was just like, oh my gosh. And it's like, yeah, sometimes it does that. And I think I was married to him about 3 years in by the time I noticed that, but it was really, really great that. But so modern day dating, continuing on. We have Dana with us on the call tonight. I believe she told me that she dated online or something. I'll let her tell her story. But
Hmm.
when I talk about in the previous shows, me dating the professor with the 5 kids or whatever like that, I actually met him through eHarmony. And eHarmony does it, from my opinion and my experience, does a great job of kind of sifting through. And he was just outside my match. And so that part really was telling, because it would filter down and give you percentages of how well that person matched to your profile. And then it would
Hmm.
also give you a list of people in their pictures or cover photos of who were just outside your match but had a lot of things in common. And eHarmony did a great job, because at that time, I was divorced, and then all of the men that it matched me to were divorcees as well. So
Hmm.
it was kind of cool for that. But we'll let Dana share her story of how she met her fiance and tell us about, dating in this modern day age. So welcome, Dana.
Hey, Dana.
All right, can you see me?
Yeah, we
You
can
can
see you
see you,
and hear
Dana.
you.
Okay, because
First
it looks
time.
like someone else is trying to log. Two other people are trying to log in.
Oh, okay.
I don't have, I don't see them there.
No, I don't see that. They're already in if there
Hmm.
is. No.
Mm.
Okay, so how I met my person online, right?
Yeah, well, what made you go online, first of all? We were talking about, Jabril and I earlier, about, we were used to dating from adolescence. People talk to you about dating, meeting somebody in person, or you were associated with a person because of the person being
Yeah.
introduced to you, like somebody you already knew, or, did that connection or that hookup, if you will.
Yeah, times have really changed. A lot of my friends met their husbands online. Um, yeah, so they were telling me like where to go because I didn't want to meet anybody from Panama City because it's just the options here are not good options. So for various reasons, so I thought it'd be better just to find somebody who does not live in this area. So I found some people. I just went online just to test it out, and you can find a lot of really decent guys on there. Uh,
So
really
which
good
sites
careers.
did the friends recommend? Like, for anybody who's like, they want to give it a try, they are kind of scared. Talk about your experience of, they said, hey, go here, and you did. Like, I'm sure you ran into a couple of doozies before you actually said, this is a guy I'm actually interested in.
Well, my friends they wanted to meet military guys, so they were going to military dating site.
Is there a particular
And
reason why the military men stood out?
benefits,
Yes.
insurance.
Come on.
Like there's lots of reasons why. I was wondering, but then they have good benefits. They got good life insurance, dental discounts.
You know,
They get to
discounts.
travel. So they were targeting military guys.
Wow.
So they were going to military.
It's interesting. But
Shopping for
Yeah.
a man in a uniform, huh?
Yep. High ranking too.
Oh,
wow. We were specific. You were intentional.
Yeah. Yeah, Air Force. So wait
Yeah.
1 second, I need to charge my computer. Hold on.
Interesting. That's interesting. I'll just do a little quick spin off on this one. You've heard of catfish, but
right.
have you ever heard of hatfish?
Hatfish. Oh, wow. Talk to us about hatfish, real.
All right. I wish I had my hat in front of me, but that's the guy. So look here. Say something real quick, Dan, and I'll come right back because I want to really show you the full impact.
So, like, okay, so the friends that you have, are they married to military men?
They all are.
So they're like, get me away from here. I want to travel.
Yep.
And I know that he's going to have a dedicated job.
Mm-hmm.
I may or may not have to work. So
Yep.
they had a plan.
There you go.
They have
Exactly.
a strategy.
They got it down. Like they know where to go. They know where the guys are at. They know and if they even find a guy that's like in the army, they won't even deal with them because they know they make like the less.
Oh, so you had certain branches of service. So what about the Marines? Do they want them down in the Marines? What is?
No,
Well,
they would
the
get
pay
Air
scale
Force.
is the same across the board. I mean, anybody can go online and see what the pay scale. It is based on rank. It is based on time and grade. So the more years you have and the higher rank you have, the more your pay is. But specifically for an officer, they were asking questions like, which branch of service you in? What's your rate? How long you been in here? So they could go pull up that pay scale and look right across and see what it was.
I'm gonna take the government, but this is the hatfish that I was talking about. And you see how I look this if you never met me, men have gone on dates and see the guy and you can't really tell, might look like I have a fade, but just imagine I say, nice to meet you, and I always have a hat. You ever met a guy who always wears a hat and he looks good with the hat, but if he takes off his hat, he might have a cubicle head or something. So just imagine if you never saw him without that. So that's what you call hat fishing. Some women, before they will date or really commit to that guy, wants to see his whole head, wants to see his head. Same with wigs,
Okay.
wigs and weaves. Similar, men do the same thing. They want to kind of see what's behind the weave or the hair. Is it real hair? If it's not, let's get a sneak peek. So, but yes, that's what you call a hat fish. When the guy looks a certain way, he may have a really nice face, but he might have some couple of nuggets or cubes on his head. You pull off that hat, and you're just very disappointed. Are you telling me that you women have never seen a man maybe had a hat, but then once he covered, and that was his design. So he always had a baseball cap or a hat, and that's why. Do you know anyone like that?
Oh,
That happened to me a
we
couple
know a few
times.
people.
You've been hat fished.
Yeah, and he had like a little patch of hair, and I told him just go ahead and shave it off, otherwise I'm not going to talk to you because that's stupid.
Right.
So he was
See?
going bald, premature bald, and I was like, just shave it off.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
It's hot.
Just little briar patches or lump, you know. So I'm just telling you. So see, I had to embrace my life too, but there's some people that we all know that have those caps, and that's why they even sleep in them. So
I mean, the part for me is I like a man that looks great in a hat, but I do want to see a hairline. I do want to see that. And the the bald look can be great. I mean, it just depends if you're meeting him in the transition phase or he's already there, you know.
you
But
definitely don't want someone who has a bald head, then he has a George Jefferson going in.
no.
That's what this guy did. He still had, this is a big circle right here. And he was this younger looking guy, but nobody knew because he
Mm.
had.
Right. They'll look
Well, what the
cute. Some look
guys
cute hats and some don't.
What you say, Dan?
the guys are doing now, that they're growing beards now and they're shaping it up because that's like a new way to shape their face.
Right, it's the
So
head.
now they're doing like they're doing
Right.
that now because they don't want to get the man weaves.
Well, a
So
lot of people are getting man weaves. You just don't know. They got the man weave
don't get caught in the rain.
on the rain or that thing be
After the
on the pillow,
rain.
on the pillow. That thing will be on the pillow. You be looking for it. So
Oh no, I've been pretty blessed that they've had, good heads of hair and a family that they come from a family that, the hair is filled all the way in. So, which is always great. So, Dana, which websites? eHarmony, what types?
Harmony. Harmony was good. So when you go on there, you're basically bombarded with like 100 guys. It works because there's more men on there than women, and you'll get like 1,000 messages in there. So, and they're pretty thirsty too. Some of them are really like thirsty. They'll just keep spamming you, spamming you. You have to block some of them. It's it's crazy. It's like so it's like you get your options, but I mean you have to filter out the good ones and the bad ones. But I think women have a more success rate on dating apps than men because women know that they have like the pick of the litter and they could just discard who they want, just and select the good ones from, because we go by pictures and then they put their job in the description and all the other stuff like that. So so we get like a higher success rate when it comes to looking for what we want on there. So um and you just, some of the guys they told me like a lot of the women's are players on there.
mm,
Yeah. Because I would just talk to him. I was like, what is it like for you? He's like, some of them are bots, some of them are like our OnlyFans people putting the link in the description, and then some of them would just kind of just be players. So it's better for women to go on there than men because the algorithm, the way that the apps are set up, the algorithm makes it easier for them to find people than the guys. They kind of actually fail more at finding someone than women.
Wow. So did you have to go through a few of them before you actually landed your fiance?
No, I just had two people and I just chose one, and he just like, okay, I want to see you like in a couple of weeks. I'm like, okay. And we met and put a ring on it after like 3 months. So,
Wow.
Hmm.
yeah.
Wow. What do you think about that? 3 months, the real 3 months? Real
I
talk?
don't know. I mean, if we want to be real, is this like I mean, I want to ask this question, but I don't know if I should ask, but we
Go
talk about,
ahead.
all right, so we talk about are you one of those ladies practicing the celibacy journey, or are you just kind of doing your own thing? And it's fine either way, because and the only reason I'm saying this, I'm talking about how certain men think and how on these websites, how men think, most men. I've been on these sites before. If Dana didn't have enough time to think of a list of sites, I was going to volunteer a couple of the sites. I don't know if they're still in existence. However, I know that they were there, and that they probably changed the name. But that's what I was curious about, and because either way, I have a mixed opinion about this in terms of the celibacy. I just do. I think that at this point in the age that we're living in, the times that you may, I wouldn't judge or be against someone if they just did that first before you know. I mean, because I've seen this. I don't know if any of you ever seen this on TV, but this is a joke, but it's real. So it's what you call a real joke. It says this is why you should have sex before marriage. So they play this song, and it's a man. I mean, a man and a woman in the bed. And I mean, the song is real smooth. It's like seeing smooth. And next thing you know, the woman gets up, she goes to the bathroom. And I mean, just walks. And then he stands up and uses the bathroom. And I'm just saying it in the day and age. That's again, I'm prefacing this. The day and age we're in, maybe at least see something or sneak something, because if you marry someone and it was a misrepresentation on the highest level, what do you do with that? What can you do? Because it doesn't say in the Bible the person lied to you and they're not what they said they are. It's nothing in the Bible that says that. But the plastic surgery and the age that we're living in, that you want to be clear. So what do you even think about that, Erica? But Dana, you don't have to answer the question. I was just curious, but I'm just saying that I think that at this day and age, just to say that either way, I think it's all about the person, because it doesn't make sense if you just celibate for 5 years with each other, then you get together and you leave in 1 year. What's the difference?
Okay, so he said he's not going to do that. I mean, I agree with him. He's Vietnamese, and so in their tradition, the woman is supposed to be a virgin. So he had an arrangement with the first wife. She was a virgin. They were not allowed to sleep together until after the wedding. So after that, he said it was horrible. So he said he will never do that again, ever.
So he will not do what? Because you didn't answer. I lost it.
He will not like practice celibacy before he gets married
There you go.
because
Okay, now I hear it.
yeah, because
He
he said
said,
it
"I
was
want
it
sex."
was terrible for 10 years.
So what is that? Why he left?
It was a lot of issues, but
Well, let me
it
tell you.
didn't help.
You know how they say certain things cover a multitude of sins. But some good pumpkin pie can help out a lot of things. It can solve a lot of problems. And women know this. When women want what they want, they're not arguing with you with a man when they want what they want. That's not how you're going to win with a man. So you got to soften them up. And everybody knows what that's all about. It goes with the smile. It goes with the way you talk to him and stuff. You already know the dude knows he's about to get set up, but he doesn't have a problem. That's good. So I think that what that's saying about you and being real, if he wrapped you up in 3 months and 10 years he had something bad, he was he was extremely excited and said, I'm gonna put a ring on it. So that was, I called a ring ring ping ping. And that's what you represented. So congratulations to you.
He did an Asian thing on it too.
Ring, ring, ping, ping. That's right. You hit it with the ring, ring.
Fall.
Go ahead, Dana. Dana, queen and king. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You never know what I'm gonna say. I
I
don't
love
know.
it.
It
I
may
love
be
it.
gone, but I just need to be real, and I was just really curious, and I'm not gonna sit here on our own show and be afraid to say stuff. Or ask stuff because you can ask me whatever you want. Just be careful of what the answer is. Because if you ask, I'm tell you, I'm the real Jabril.
That's right. So, to answer your question there, Jabril,
Sure.
I feel that you have to, especially now in this day and age, you have to ask a lot of questions. You have to almost do like private eye investigation type stuff now. Like, I mean, you need to be asking about financials and stuff like that. And I know people think that's invasion of privacy, but I'm saying this is your life. So that first courtship phase, whatever, is cool, no problem. And if you're not going to wait, and even if you are going to wait, here's the deal. You better go get some medical examinations performed, some tests ran. You don't know that sexual history. You're taking on a whole lot. So you need to know. And now with these suppressing drugs, if you will, it won't screen or it'll show up very faintly on the, on the kit test you can order from home. So you need to go get certified professionals to say this person has no screen of any kind. All their stuff is up to date because you actually, I mean, even if you don't think about the worst case scenario like STDs, right? I don't want to have, nor would anyone else want to have a situation where this person's really sick. They're actually linking up with you because they need somebody to take care of them. And that medical bill is going to be high and you got good health insurance. And so that becomes your problem. Well, health insurance does not cover everything. So maybe that's the whole get someone in the military or whatever. But no, you need to really know. They really need to know about you. You really need to know about them. And you really need to meet the family. I mean, the whole family at this point. Because the family, somebody in that family is going to say, he used to be a she, or she used to be a he, or something is going to come out. And for you to not take the time out, like to ask, who's your best friend? Who's that? I feel like you should meet 5 significant people in their life. You should meet the parents, you should meet the siblings, the best friends, some extended family members, and who they work with. Definitely at least minimum. Even if you don't meet any of their friends, you need to meet those 5. Because those people are going to be who you marry. You don't really necessarily marry them, but that's who you have to deal with. Because if he deals with them or she deals with them, you have to as well. So even if you said they're over there, well, they're still your family. That is your newfound family. And
For life.
yeah, for life. Exactly. So even if you're good and your mate's good, well, when you bring children into the world, that becomes a different situation. So, it takes a village to raise a child, and you can do some on your own, parents, whatever, but when you two can't always be there, you have to entrust godparents or whoever else to the party to help parent this child. So I think we owe it to ourselves to not live in oblivion and act like we can go based on what this person is telling me. I have no family, all my family died. Okay, let me see some obituaries or something. I need to know your history. You might want to ask for the birth certificate. They can get those redone now too, but that's why you want to go, let's get these medical records. Let's go get this, let's go get that, whatever, because I don't want to have a situation where if I'm not going to see you naked into a marriage, I still need to know what you represent is actually what is going to be. And
totally agree. You got it.
And even if you say, okay, well, the horrible sex situation, well, we're gonna start with some physical therapy, some sexual therapist or whatever like that. Like when it comes to like dating now, you have to ask the questions. You have to say, this is my line, this is my boundary on where and how far I'm willing to go. Because if they like swinging from the chandelier, you're not about that life. You need to be able to be upfront with it. not like you're gonna make all their dreams come true. It
I'll
doesn't work.
ask. I'm gonna just be transparent as we're concluding. My wife, Takesha Wilson, I call her a ruler. She had a lot of rules, and I thought to myself, I said, I don't know if I could do this in a marriage, because she was celibate for over 8 years, and just during that time of my life, Dana and Erica, and team, I was just at a place where I just wanted to slow down anyway. So it all matched. Maybe a year before it definitely wouldn't have matched. I would have been like your fiance and saying, heck no. But it matched. But that also made me think, well, then that means she's going to be horrible when we get together. She has all these rules, but once we get married, because that was the biggest nightmare. And I did have people asking me, they said she might be a man. Like they said that they didn't believe it, so they said she could be a man. So I did, and so it's funny how when you hear something like that, it starts to play with you. So whenever she would argue with me, I kind of heard this voice that sounded more masculine in her face. I started thinking like that, and I started watching her and looking at her for a minute, but I had to catch myself. But my point is, before I proposed to her, because I was getting real serious about it, I asked her some critical, personal, sexual, you better tell me, or I'm not going to even think about getting a ring questions. And I thought she was going to say, that's none of your business and all of that. She must have known or heard from God that she better answer. And she did. And guess what? They were all great answers. So the next day, I proposed. If those answers were wrong, they were good. So I'm just telling you that it doesn't matter how you start, but if you finish off, because there was things that I didn't want to give up in the past. And I thought that if you are married, you should be able to enjoy and do these things. So she answered them, but you would never know. So that's another thing that I think for men, just because somebody's quiet doesn't mean that they can't do their thing. And sometimes the people who have the biggest mouths cry the most and can't do anything. So you never know. Don't judge a book by its cover. Take time to know that person. Talk to them, have those conversations. Don't just assume that they never would, because that could be the what you really were looking for. So that's just my tip, and just sharing that with you.
Excellent reflection. So we definitely have to have Dana back on and run a part 2. But next week, the next 2, we're going to talk about divorce and what that journey was like for your hosts and co-hosts, and how you can navigate if you're facing that situation, or if you're going through it or just recently have come out of it. What are some steps to transition back to love again? So join us next week, in the next 2 weeks, as we present to you Single by Force and Single by Choice.
And that's right. It's something. But just remember, no matter divorce or not, if you have an opportunity to get married and find that significant lover person for the rest of your life, go for it. Don't hold back.
Absolutely. We look forward to seeing you next week. Join us 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central.
All right. Have a great night. Thank you. And thank you, Dana. You going to be back, Dana? Are you going to be back?
Not for the divorce one, because I'm not divorced yet. So
no, not for that. I'm talking about another one, a Dana.
Sure.
All right. Awesome.
All right. Have a great night. Thank you so much.